Hi, it's Peg, and yesterday I was working with Archival ink and alcohol on different surfaces with stencils. And, I was showing you the results that I could get on the different types of surfaces. Now, two other surfaces that I have not used. This was a specialty stamping paper, just some sketch paper, and this was Nina Solar White. So, you can get different effects depending on the surface that you're working on. So I also wanted to try out working with a watercolor pad and a Yupo, just to see what happens when you work on those different surfaces. But today, I wanted to talk about, some people mentioned that my video ended abruptly. That's because I couldn't find the ink I was looking for at the moment, and yeah, I needed to move on because I was going to do a live show. So the ink I was looking for is this alcohol lift ink, and what I'm going to do is use that in conjunction with my stencils. I'm going to put a little bit of that down on my surface, and I'm just using a sponge dauber to pick that up with. And then I'm going to see if I can lift some of that ink if I add the alcohol lift ink here. And I'm going to, kind of fade out a little bit towards that one side. I'm not going to go all the way up just to see what the difference in effect is. Now that's going to sit on there a little bit so that it's working, and we're going to see what it does. I'm going to grab just a tissue. These are just regular tissue papers. I'm going to daub this off first. See if I can raise any of that ink up, and you can see it's starting to come through the tissue. So yes, we are getting that. And I suppose you could use just a regular piece of paper on top of that and capture some of that. But you can glue this tissue paper down. See that? I could glue this tissue paper onto something too, because it's picked up some color. And let's lift this. And yes, I am getting an image. I'm going to come back with another tissue and see what I can get with that. And yes, it's still picking up ink. So it's still wet, okay? So I'm going to gently buff over that. See, it's getting ink up. And how cool is that? This is one of my favorite Mary Beth Shaw stencils here. You guys see that? There, in the light, you can see it. Is that cool or what? Okay, so that's using the alcohol lift ink on the specialty stamping paper. Now, I don't know that we're going to get those kind of effects on these other papers, but let's try, instead of, I'm going to clean the stencil off. Instead of putting it on through the stencil, let's try applying it to the stencil. Let's just put some randomly on the stencil and apply that to, and with this one, what I want to do is, I think I'm going to sandwich, no, I don't know. What I might want to do, because this is a video and I'm not going to take the time to do that, what I might want to do is sandwich that and run it through a die machine to see, if I can get the impression with pressure. It might help it some. This is a very dirty stencil because I love this stencil also. And I'm picking up some of the paint off of it. It's migrating. So, yes, there is an image. Not real deep. But then, this is that cheaper paper too. So, I think if I had something more like this, it would work better. Let's try, here, let me grab some Yupo. Let's just do this on Yupo. This is a heavyweight Yupo, just something from Amazon, I think. And let's get some ink out here. Let me get a variety I have not used. Let's use a, here's a purple. This is deep purple. I know somebody that likes that color. Let's use a deep purple and aquamarine. Well, it's called Forget-Me-Not. Aquamarine and Forget-Me-Not are very similar. I'll put the Forget-Me-Not there. I'll put the, let's use a manganese blue with that also. That's a deeper turquoisey blue. Okay, so I've got the 3 colors down. Let me grab my alcohol. It's just 91 proof alcohol. I'm gonna spritz that well with the alcohol and get it moving. And you may want to use a palette knife or something to move some of that color. Get it blended in. And then let's put the Yupo on there and see what we get. Now, you're not going to want to heat this a lot because Yupo does buckle some, but look at the colors, guys. Aren't they pretty? I'm going to let that sit there a minute. I'm going to grab a piece of that watercolor. Now, Wendy did not like the effect that she got on watercolor. This is a Master's Touch watercolor. I think I'm going to use the smoother side just to capture that. You see how it soaks in right away? The watercolor is going to grab that immediately and soak it up in comparison to where it's going to sit on the surface of something like Yupo, which is a plasticized paper. So you can see why she says she doesn't really care for that as much. It's just the way that it soaks in. However, since it has done that and soaked in, let's take that same stencil that we had before, put it on here, get a little bit of that alcohol lift ink, and come back in and apply some of that. I don't think I got enough on there. Let me put a little bit out, pick it up with my sponge. We'll see if it'll lift it off of the watercolor paper. I'm not sure if it'll do that, but let's get our tissue and see if we can lift off of the watercolor. Our Yupo is still drying over here. You can see it's still puddling and wet. Maybe I can do a, here, grab a brayer, see if that will act as an assist. Picking that up. Okay, so you can see it did pull a little bit of color. Let's see what it did underneath. Oh yeah, look at that. Okay, so that's with the alcohol lift ink through a stencil. Let's look at the Yupo now. Still wet here. Let me quickly hit it with a little air. Don't want to really heat it. I just want to put some air to it to dry that ink down. How pretty is that? Alright, so now we've got our Yupo. And let's grab another stencil. And I will get the alcohol lift ink. And let's just go right across the Yupo here. And you know, with this one, I think what I might do, let me grab, this is just a piece of deli paper. Let's see. I want to see if I can capture what's being released here on the deli paper. You know, because I can collage with that too. So let's capture that ink on the deli and get a 2-for-1, right? So there's the ink on the deli paper. Not a lot, but there's some. And then I'm going to get a tissue again. I'm going to lift this and dab with the tissue. Probably want to put it in between tissue papers to clean that stencil a little bit. Get that ink off of there. Yeah, look at that. You guys see that? That's on the tissue paper from the stencil. And this is on the Yupo. Very cool. Okay. Another new technique. Who knew? Alright. If you like this content and you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. Hit the bell for notification and share. And if you're going shopping at Amazon, use my link because it adds a few cents to my pocket and does not cost you anything extra, and it helps support my channel. So thanks guys. I'll see you all later.